It's truly a pleasure to be here. And David and I were talking last night that it has been many, many, many years, but we met in a drumming circle that he was leading. And it is always, indigenous practices are tremendously important to me because I believe that they help connect us, not just to the world around us, but to ourselves and the path that we choose to walk in this life. And I do say choose to walk because often I have people who will ask, and they'll even ask me, what is my purpose in life? I want to know what my purpose is. Why am I here? And usually I simply ask them, what do you want your purpose to be? And they might say, well, I want to heal the sick. I want to heal the world. I want to be a vessel for peace. And I ask, okay, so why do you think you're not that now? And often that question surprises people. I'm a firm believer that everybody has their answer inside of them. They just need the right questions. And while my answers are perfect for me, they're not someone else's answers because those answers come between them and their creator, their vision of God, however they visualize that. And that's not something that anyone can give, or more importantly, that anyone can take away. And maybe someone else's purpose isn't in alignment with mine. Maybe they walk a different path, but that doesn't mean their path is any less significant. Now, I also have people who ask me about their destiny. Occasionally, I I just call it I get a hit on something. And they'll say, "Well, what's my destiny?" And I said, "Your destiny is where your purpose takes you." "Well, what's my purpose?" "What do you want it to be?" Because I do believe there's a difference between our destiny and our purpose. Our purpose is truly what leads us to ultimately, I mean, someone once said that they believe that destiny was just the fallback plan for those who do not want to choose. And in some ways, I kind of agree with that a bit because I do believe that it's more of a spiritual contract that before we come into this life, we create our spiritual contracts, whether those are spiritual contracts with the people we're meant to be connected to, those who will teach us both as an example and sometimes as a warning. We create a spiritual contract with all of those who will help us and all of those who will harm us. Because ultimately, all of those pieces come together to help us find our purpose. They help us to be able to decide how we want to walk in this world and in what ways do we want to interact with the world. For those who want, who would like a purpose of healing the world, okay, start with yourself. What is the healing that I need as a person? Because when we cherish ourselves, when we honor ourselves, when we learn about ourselves, that does change the world. It does allow, as we walk more gently in the world, the entire world is changed. And it doesn't take being the head of a huge philanthropic organization. And people sometimes think that if it's not big, it doesn't matter. Well, I want to stop wars. Okay. How about just, being that calm, patient ear when two people are disagreeing? Someone who can mediate, who can, you can start saving the world and bringing peace to the world by helping people not argue over who got the drumstick at Thanksgiving. Anytime that we sow peace, that is exactly, when you sow something, ultimately something blossoms. Things grow from the seeds that are sown. Now, they may not grow quickly. And maybe we get a little impatient because, well, my purpose in life is to do all this and it's not happening yet. Okay. Sometimes part of our purpose is to understand that we are evolving beings. And we can have as few or as many purposes as we want. I have three. And I decided on these three purposes in life because they resonated with me. Because I got tired of waiting to try, to ask the universe to show me what my purpose was. And every time I asked, I would hear this little voice saying, what do you want it to be? You have been given all the gifts. Creator has bestowed upon you all that you need. Pick one, anyone, no matter what you pick, you'll make a difference. No matter what you pick, you're going to be wonderful at it. No matter what you pick, you can't choose wrong. And so I decided my first purpose is to serve, love, and honor my Creator to the best of my ability, and to see everything that is brought to me as something to be grateful for, even the hard things, and that I need to be especially grateful for them because they're the ones who are helping me learn most. It takes a lot of pressure to make a diamond, and all of us are diamonds in the making. My second purpose is to learn as much as I possibly can and to appreciate every single lesson and every opportunity and every tradition. And if somebody brings a tradition to me that I've never heard of, it's like, well, tell me about it. I want to hear about it. And to be able to bring all of those lessons in so that when the time comes, I may in turn share the things that I've learned. My third purpose is to make a few people smile along the way and to remind them that they matter, to encourage them to seek out their own purpose, and to remember that I belong on the list of people that I need to make sure are smiling. Those are the three things that I chose as my purpose because I believed that each and every one brings me closer to being the person that I believe I am meant to be. That for whatever reason that I ended up in this world, that I take full advantage of connecting to it and living it. There's an old saying that life is a tiny dash between two dates on a headstone. And those dates don't matter anywhere near as much as how much we can fit into that little dash. And in that dash also comes our purpose. And when we're able to embrace that, to understand that everything is about fitting as much as we can into that little dash. Now, as a part of Druidic tradition, I believe that everything that I learn in this life, every failure, every success, every misstep, every victory, every laugh and every tear are all things that become a part of me, and that when I leave this life, everything I learned becomes a gift to the universe. It goes into the great world tree, and it makes the entire universe wiser and more compassionate. And someone asked me once if I wanted to live forever, and I said, absolutely not. Because then I'd never be able to give that gift, and it meant that everything I went through for nothing. So as we each consider, what is it that would bring us joy to create in this world? Maybe it's a purpose of creating beautiful art. Maybe it's a purpose of, as Laura, creating beautiful music. No matter what you create, understand that anything you create, whether it's a poem, a song, a piece of art, a drawing, I don't care if it's a stick man, you have changed the fabric of reality in the universe because you have brought something into existence that never existed before. I'm telling you, they don't even teach that at Hogwarts. I mean, Jedis aren't even up on that. Elves haven't even got it. But you do. Each and every one of you, every time you create something, and that includes a kind word, a kind gesture, even if it's holding a door for someone, even if it's telling a cashier, thank you. Or maybe it's telling a military person, thank you for your service. Or telling a first responder, thank you for running towards danger when the rest of us are running away from it. Anything you create, even that moment, changes the universe. And maybe our purpose is to each change the universe in our own little way, to remember it. I know people who focus on history and they everything that they can learn. And that's important because a part of their purpose is to be one of the wisdom keepers. Everything we're going through now will one day be taught in schools. And we each have to remember what is going on now and pay attention, because it's going to be up to us to make sure that those teaching it get it right. Because I know there are many times that we can all look back in history where they didn't get it right. So that is something that is a part of the purpose of each and every one of us. As we unfold what it is, what is the impact we want to make in this world? Sometimes it just comes down to, we want to know that we made a difference. And sometimes we feel like when we mess up, or that we only make a difference when we've done the right thing. First off, never underestimate the power of time to actually let you know that what you thought was a mistake at one point, then years later, you realize if you had done anything else, you would not have the things you have now. Having a purpose is not about suddenly knowing what your place is in the universe, because that's for each and every one of us to decide. And you all have the most important place in the universe, because you are the only you in all the universe, the only you that's ever been, and the only you that will ever be. And what that does is it makes you special, it makes you sacred, and most of all, it makes you necessary. Because as the only you in all the universe wouldn't be the same or complete without you. And as we walk with, whether Creator, God, Jesus, Allah, however we define that, that walks with us too. It walks within us too. And that is what made you this unique being in the universe, because you were exactly what was called for. I think we live our purpose more than we realize, which is why when people ask me about wanting to know what it is, my first question is, why do you think you're not that now? Why do you think you're not living your purpose now? Because I can guarantee you, you're living it. You're showing up. You're doing what needs to be done. You're doing your best, and your best is good enough. And yes, sometimes there are big destinies, but that doesn't mean that we don't still just do the best we can with what we have. I have been blessed in many ways to visit many amazing places. I've been to the Amazon, I've been to Africa, and I will close with a story that I had told David last night. And I didn't bring it with me, but I do have a photo, so I will be sharing a photo of that. So I began practicing, indigenous traditions, and my niece met a young man who was in Ghana. She went there on a trip and randomly met him. There are no coincidences. I stopped believing in coincidence a long time ago. And he just happened to be very deeply connected with the medicine men and medicine women. And in a village up in the northern part of Ghana, a meteorite landed, and it was different. They said that it came in different because they've seen them come in before, but it was much bigger. And it came in, instead of at an angle, it came straight down. And there was a tree in the center of the village. It struck the tree and it shattered the tree and got buried into the root system. So the men of the village went to go dig it up. And the medicine man said, no, wait. So they waited some days and they all went to the hole it formed, and it had unburied itself and was laying at the bottom of the hole. So when something like that happens, they refer to them as thunderstones, and they hold a 3-day ceremony. Now, because this stone was shaped like an axe head, it was believed that it would be for the men. because if it was round, feminine meteorites that are feminine are round. So all of the medicine men around the area were called in, including one that Akeem's brother worked with. So Akeem's brother was there and attending the medicine man he worked with. And after 3 days of ceremony and offerings, well, they were, the head medicine man received the answer. And he walked straight over to Akeem's brother. And he said, you must contact your brother in America. There was no way he should have known that Akeem's brother had, family in America. And the medicine man said, his aunt, the doctor, must come to Ghana because the Thunderstone has spoken her name. So I was contacted and I was told that I needed to come to Ghana, that I was a Thunderstone bearer and I needed to come and get it. And if I may share the screen, hold on. This is the stone. And it traveled throughout the solar system and possibly from beyond it. And as soon as I placed my hands on it, I knew it was mine. I knew we were connected. It showed me where it had been. And I felt it and saw it entering the atmosphere. I felt the heat of it. And then I saw it hit the tree. And the last thing I thought before it hit the tree was I reached out to the tree and said, I'm sorry. And the tree said, that that's my purpose. So when we consider, that's a big thing. What does it mean? Nothing. It's an event. It is a part of my purpose. And the big thing we need to remember is no matter what purpose we choose, that purpose is not all of us. There are many, many pieces to each and every one of us. Our purpose is only one. So being able to remember that, keep that in focus, that whatever purpose you choose, whatever mark you want to make in the world, first off, you can pick as many as you want. And as you grow and as you experience, maybe one purpose, the only purpose it was meant to serve was to open a doorway to another purpose. We don't have to choose what we want to be. We get to. And keep that in mind, that no matter what it is, you're already serving your purpose. You are your purpose. Each and every one of us is God's favorite child. And my belief is that when I finish this life, I will be greeted by what I believe is probably the best hugger that creation has ever known. And I know I'm going to get a big hug and a smile. And I'm going to be asked, how did you like the gifts I gave you? Did you enjoy using them? Which was your favorite? I want to hear all about it. Whatever you choose, you can't choose wrong. And whatever path you take, it's going to get you somewhere, even if it's somewhere where you go, you know what? I don't think I like it here, so I can go somewhere else. But your purpose is yours. So enjoy it. Again, this is just a little dash between two dates on a headstone. And my mother had a poster that said, life is the childhood of my immortality. So enjoy your childhood and your purpose. And whatever it is, you're going to be amazing at it. You've got this. Thank you.